And we should be live now.
Okay. Yep, there it is.
Cool. It worked.
Okay.
Yay. You have a kitty in your lap. I have
I
a kitty in
do.
my lap. Look at us.
We both have cats.
Yeah.
That's great.
Needy cats that want
So
our attention.
needy. Oh my god. Literally every single time we stream. It's like, me too. Pet me.
Yeah, I want to stream with you, Mom. Please.
Yeah, she wants to show her asshole to the camera. That's all that's going on right now.
You know? Oh my gosh. For real. Let me adjust my camera settings. Actually, you know what? Forget about it. I'm just gonna be my color, different color from yours. I always.
You can adjust if you want.
I can't. Oolong's on my lap. What do I do?
Oh. Hold him with one hand, and then.
I know, right?
Oh god. It's so. I thought you were gonna do something on the computer. I didn't realize you're doing something on the physical camera.
Yeah. There we go.
It's fine.
Oh no, it's having the banding
No, it's
issue. Fuck.
Oh.
Hold on. I'm sorry, but I'm ditching you right now.
Hello, Tankarius.
Okay,
How's
cool.
it going? I'm good. How are you?
Now I'm kind of the same color as you, sort of. The same brightness, at least. I can adjust a little bit. All right, Oolong, come back.
Okay, Domino has to leave. She's scratching my shirt.
Overstimulated boy.
Yeah.
Girl. Come on, Oolong. You wanted to be on my lap?
You're here.
Little Oolong. Okay, cool. Dope. So I tweeted about us.
Oh yes, I also tweeted. Let me go into the other account to retweet it.
That's what I did. Was I
Okay.
tweeted from the BLHQ
gotcha.
account,
Gotcha. I see.
and now I'm gonna retweet it.
Okay. I'm just doing all of the retweets. It's all good.
Come watch us talk about gay Chinese wizards.
Hell yeah.
Gay Chinese wizards, the podcast.
Gay Chinese Wizards, the podcast.
Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm gonna open up our docs. Dude, it's been a while since the last time we recorded.
It's been 2 weeks because I was on surgery hiatus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Recovery.
Surgery hiatus and yeah. I have Oolong. He's in my lap.
I'm making sure.
Okay.
Hi, Jeff.
Jenny says hi.
Hi.
Drive. And episode 29. I can't believe we've done 29 weeks straight of this. That's ridiculous.
I know. It's crazy. We're like the midpoint of the book right now too.
Is it the midpoint?
So-
I feel like we're more than the bit. Oh my god. Because
No,
book
we're
5
in
is
the
so
middle.
long.
Yeah, we're in the fucking middle, like with Mount Tonglu and stuff.
That's crazy,
they're like
dude.
literally getting into Mount Tonglu. That's like the midpoint.
Dude, that's
So
nuts.
Yeah,
That's
it's crazy.
That's nuts. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm so excited. Okay.
Okay.
I wrote so much. I don't know how much
Good.
we're gonna get into it, but it gets pretty. I like forgot that there was things that happened, you know, and then I'm like when I'm rereading it, I'm like, oh yeah, there was like this whole scene. Like it's crazy.
Oh my god, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Hello, Nemesis. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Nemesis. Yay! Thanks for joining the YouTube stream.
Yeah.
It's like so exciting. Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll just able to do the YouTube stream from now on.
Yeah.
And then y'all
Well, we
find all the
do.
deal stuff in one place.
I will say we should probably record some extra episodes because we are currently caught up. As in, if I don't edit this episode tonight, I'm not gonna have it out by Sunday.
Okay.
I know.
Do you want to record extra long today? And
We
then cut it
can.
into
Oh my
two
God, please.
episodes?
I would
Okay.
love to
I
record
wrote-
extra long today.
I think I wrote enough for at least 2 episodes. I
Okay.
definitely did not do the. I hear so much noise on your
Yeah, I
end.
know. Jeff, once Jeff is done, then we can start recording.
Okay. I don't know if I finished color coding the blues and reds, like
Okay.
towards the later half, but we can. Figure that
Oh,
out
speaking
later.
of gay Chinese wizards.
Hey, Modal Sushi volume. Was that 4? Volume 4.
Oh my God. Oh my God, volume 4.
Oh, it's so pretty.
my God, oh my
Was
God,
that
oh my
Zhang Cheng in the background?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And Yang Li.
And
Oh,
Li. Oh, it's so pretty.
with their baby.
Oh, it's such a good cover.
Your,
It's such a good cover.
Your like scum and villain one gets here tomorrow.
My next scum villain is getting here tomorrow. Dude, they're coming out with
Hell
books so
yeah.
fast.
Dude, they're so fast. Did you fucking get Urha yet?
I got Urha.
It's so fat.
Yeah.
Like it's fat.
It gets. I haven't been reading it because honestly, the first book is the slowest book for me because of all I
Yeah,
want the
yeah.
sad pining
The
and the sad
later-
pining.
The later half.
It like
After
honestly
the time skip.
until Shastini comes around, like it really
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Nothing happens as much as I want it to happen.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I've been reading so much fan fiction, dude, that it's.
Me too. Oh my god, I've been.
Oh
just,
my
like,
God.
I was like off fanfiction for a few weeks, and then I came back on fanfiction, and now I'm just like I'm living in fanfiction world right now.
Bro, I've been reading so much and I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh good, yay! I'm so excited.
Ah.
There's one I really wanted to talk. I was trying to finish it because I really wanted to talk about it today, but I didn't finish it, so I'm
It's-
gonna have to wait till next week or
Okay.
something because it's really.
There's still some I haven't even finished, but yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, great.
All right,
so
so
excited.
yes. All right, let's I'm going to start the recording now. I'm going to load up our
Okay.
thing. So everyone who just joined our stream, welcome. We are BLHQ podcast. I know you're probably coming from Twitter or from my Twitch stream.
Stream.
Yeah, but I'm Stella Chu and this is Jenny
Jenny
Belly.
Belly.
We're both cosplayers who are extremely obsessed with BL to the point that we wanted to create a podcast together. And
Yep.
that's all that's like our biggest hobby. It's like all we do.
Yeah, no, that's just my entire personality at this point is just fucking BL or like
Yes.
cosplay. Like,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
That's all
Yep.
I talk about.
Yep. That's all we want to do. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else, man. Fuck that
Yeah, I
shit.
just want to lay there and like read BL like forever.
Please, yes, the dream. And so far, we have gotten all the way up to episode 29. Is our 29th episode. Next week is going to be our 30th episode, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, and we have been following this book called Heaven Official's Blessing, and we're now on chapter 145. So for this stream today, we basically every single time we're just recording our live podcast, and we publish our podcast onto our Patreon, onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts.
All the podcast places. Yeah.
And we've actually been growing on Patreon lately, which is really awesome. So
I
thank
know.
you.
We were just talking about how someone else joined our Patreon this week, and we're just like,
We're so happy about it. We met a lot of people at Anime Frontier who also
oh my God.
like,
Yes.
yeah.
Like they were just talking about the podcast or like fanfiction with us or like fangirling with us, and I was just like, these are my people. Like, where have you been all my life?
I know. Remember when I said I was gonna make our business cards, and then
cards?
I didn't.
Do you think you can? Do you think it's
No.
able to get done for
No.
Hallmat? Just kidding.
No,
Okay, that's
no,
fine.
Hallmat's tomorrow, baby. I can't do that.
That's fine. Yeah, I know. I'm like flying out tomorrow too.
Yeah. So.
Okay, pain. Okay, next con. Next con.
All right, cool. So let's get started. In between chapters, we will be replying to our YouTube like stream chat. So please just leave comments, like say whatever you want, so that we can talk, like read out your comments and stuff.
Yes,
but yeah.
I love reading the comments.
Yay.
And also, if you have questions about like what the fuck is going on, we will be happy to re-explain or recap things, since there's a lot of names and there's a lot of
Yes.
plot elements and there's a lot of like twists and turns. So like the more questions you have, the more I get to talk about the content. So that makes me really happy. So I love questions.
Yes. Also, I really think that we should start doing like fluff episodes where we talk about like what is danmei, what is yaoi.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
I was
like
thinking we should do some
what is the
extra
Omegaverse?
stuff.
What is Hanahaki
I
disease?
definitely want to talk about the Omegaverse. Like, I want to create like a whiteboard and like explain everything about the Omegaverse.
Please,
like, this needs to happen.
let's plan that out. Absolutely. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I know on Canva there's like a way you can share a whiteboard and we can like both write on it at the same time. So, like,
yeah,
this is possible. Like,
cool.
we can do this.
Perfect.
We can just stream the whiteboard. Yeah.
I would love that. I would love that. All right, cool. Let's get started. We're gonna start recording our podcast.
Okay. Welcome to BLHQ.
I'm Stella Chu.
And I'm Jenny Belly. This is our weekly podcast breaking down the danmei web novel Heaven Official's Blessing, written by MXTX. We deep dive a few chapters at a time and discuss themes, cultural backgrounds, and our overall reactions. Spoilers abound and screaming will be had, so you have been warned.
A recap from last week, we found out that Fenxin is the real father of the fetus spirit and that he and Lan Chan were lovers 800 years ago. Lan Chan and So So ran away and Fu Yao pursues them while Fenxin reports back to heaven. Junwu descends to meet with Xie Lian and Hua Cheng, saying that the situation in Mount Tonglu has gotten worse and that he personally needs to infiltrate as a spy to stop any ghost kings from being born. Xie Lian volunteers instead because the alternative was for Xie Lian to manage heaven and he didn't want to do that. So he's going to go on this case fic instead. So him and Hua Cheng pretend to be like a puppet demon in order to sneak into the ghost gathering. The big group of ghosts that they end up like standing around with are suspecting that there's a heavenly official spy among them. So they start sticking yellow talismans on each other to prove that they're not human. But then all of a sudden, all of the talismans explode. So it was a trap. And I know that was a lot of information, but yeah, last episode, a lot of things happened.
So many things happened with it, especially it was really like how Junwu kind of tricked Xie Lian into going on this mission, but it made it look like he was like sacrificing himself, but then it was actually like a trick to get Xie Lian to go all along. Like it was so it was a lot.
Yep.
It was a lot.
Manipulative guy. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so that brings us into chapter 145. Gates open at Mount Tonglu, the assembly of millions of ghosts. So all those yellow talismans explode, and all the ghosts that had them stuck to their foreheads have their brains literally blown out. Xie Lian is alarmed. He inspected the talisman earlier, and they seemed like normal charms, so how did they all blow up like this? But just then, a shredded piece of paper floats down from the sky, and Xie Lian pulls it out of the air to inspect it again. He realizes what happened. There were 2 layers on the talisman. The one on top was a normal spell, but the one on the bottom had a vicious spell hidden on a thin sheet. Not only that, but Xie Lian also realizes that the large mountain that was blocking the path has suddenly shifted behind them. It looks like they're all within the Mount Tonglu barrier, and now no one can leave.
The blade demon who tricked everyone with the talismans moves to attack Xie Lian. But before Xie Lian can even summon Roye, his like bandage spirit weapon, his like bandage snake, the cloak figure pulls out a sword and slashes the ghost in half, killing it completely. Xie Lian approaches the figure and asks who he is. The man smirks and is about to respond, but then he suddenly crouches down. Xie Lian is confused. Is he about to sneak attack? But the man only leans down with his arms around the slender waist of 2 female ghosts. Are my ladies all right? The female ghosts don't use the talisman. The female ghosts didn't use the talisman, so they were able to avoid the blasts. They were about to thank the cloaked figure when their face suddenly changes and they slap his face, quickly crawling away. The cloaked figure, as it turns out, is Pei Ming, the lecherous god from like the beginning of the book. Yeah, he just is a big old whore. And he looks confused at the female ghosts running away. He waves his hand over his face to reveal his true appearance.
And if you guys don't remember, like right before all the talismans broke down, the sword demon was having an altercation with this cloaked figure. Like, are you a heavenly official? Are you a heavenly official? But he tested himself, and he wasn't a heavenly official because he put the talisman on his forehead and it turned black, meaning that he was a ghost. But it turns out that he is a heavenly official. He's Pei Ming. So they're like, huh? How did that happen? Xie Lian asks Pei Ming, what's he doing there? Pei Ming says that Junwu asked him to lend a hand, and Xie Lian is grateful for the assistance. But Hua Cheng says, Gugu, there's no need to be so grateful. He's obviously negotiated benefits with Junwu. Pei Ming notices Hua Cheng and crouches down to his small height, laughing. Do my eyes deceive me? Is this my Lord Crimson Rainsought flower? One certainly changes for the better with time. So what did you eat to grow backwards? But before he can laugh, Xie Lian whips him so hard with Roye that he's almost sent flying, only barely dodging backwards. He says, Your Highness, just how much do you treasure Hua Chengzu? Can't even take a joke?
Aw, he's so protective. It's like, you can make fun of me, but don't you dare come for my future husband.
Yes. And like, don't forget that Hua Chengzu is like, Hua Cheng is in a tiny little like 10-year-old
child body. Yeah, I keep forgetting that he's a little baby.
He's a little baby. Yeah.
Xie Lian demands, are you really General Pei? Pei Ming shows his sword and says, genuine and authentic, return if fake. Hua Cheng says, Gugu, kill it, it's fake. Pei Ming shouts, hey! Xie Lian asks, if you're really General Pei, then why did that yellow talisman leave an ashen mark on your forehead earlier? Pei Ming tosses a piece of candy to Xie Lian. He explains that it's ghost scent candy, which he purchased in Ghost City. One chew gives a person a mouthful of evil essence, flowing from inside out. Perfect for disguises. Xie Lian is amazed that such a thing exists, but Hua Cheng says that he shouldn't eat it. He explains, everything in Ghost City is dangerous, like this candy. It comes from a shady production house, and the ingredients are mostly vulgar, puny ghosts with unknown origins. Eating it will damage your body.
Pei Ming is unworried and says, it's all right, it's only for emergencies. It's not like it's eaten regularly. But then Hua Cheng says that the candy's smell is awful. Humans and heavenly officials can't smell it, but ghosts can, and it is rancid. No wonder those female ghosts all ran away. Pei Ming is embarrassed and annoyed and throws away all the candy. How is he going to continue his disguise now? Xie Lian says that he can continue pretending to be a puppet. Then he looks around at the destruction. There are 400 ghosts that were killed so quickly. Any remaining ghosts that managed to survive are quietly trying to escape Mount Tonglu, realizing that they're too weak to continue.
Pei Ming says that the blade demon, though weak, was vicious and good at manipulation, stirring the pot on purpose for his plans. Xie Lian's sword strike through his abdomen only helped his plans, but Xie Lian is confused. He didn't strike the ghost. Was it Pei Ming? But Pei Ming says he didn't do it either. If it wasn't either of them, who stabbed the blade demon? Xie Lian looks around to search for the corpse, but the corpse disappeared. Pei Ming had slashed him in half, but now the body is gone. Hua Cheng says darkly, in Mount Tonglu, the more opponents you kill, the stronger you become. And the blade demon just slaughtered 400 ghosts.
Uh-oh, he's like super powerful.
Yeah, he just leveled up like crazy.
Yeah,
of course, he doesn't have like death ability anymore.
Doesn't matter if his like body got cut in half. He's still alive somewhere.
If only real life was like that.
The more people you kill, the stronger you become. So then you become like a serial killer. Is that what you want for the world?
I think that we should be able to absorb people's abilities by eating them.
So like Blackwater.
Yes.
That's his ability.
I would like Blackwater. That's why I cosplay Blackwater.
That's why you cosplayed him. That makes total sense.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to absorb other people's ability, and I want the ability to shapeshift.
So you want to kill them and eat them. Okay.
Yes.
So let you yandere confirm.
Yes. I've told everyone I've entered my villain arc, and there's no coming back from that.
Okay.
Officially.
I see how it is. Nice.
Oh man. All right. Let's read through some chat.
Comments. Yeah. Hello, by Joso. Thank you for the lurk.
You would love to hear about the Omegaverse, Nemesis. Yeah, I think that would be really fun to do an Omegaverse episode, because the more Omegaverse fanfiction I'm reading, the more like I'm seeing unique ideas. Like there's some ideas that are like I don't see repeated. Like today I'm reading one in which they give like special feathers to indicate that they're like their top choice of Omega.
Yeah, that's cute. There's different, like, everyone has their own creative spin on Omegaverse, because Omegaverse is of such a, like, it's such a broad genre. Like, they have, like, those different secondary genders, but, like, what you do within it, and, like, if they also, like, give the people, like, animal characteristics or, like, spiritual characteristics, like, there's so many different ways to, like, make
Yeah.
Omegaverse unique. So yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
get into all that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. There's certain ones which I don't really like when they have a lot of like alpha pack mentality, and
Yeah.
it's kind of too complicated. Like I like Omegaverse because it's all about romance and sex, but when there's like when there's like this whole idea of pack mentality and pack
Yeah.
relationships, like I'm just like, oh, that's like you don't need to write that in.
I really like the Omegaverses that are also like spiritual mythical beings, like dragons, or like
Oh.
Jing, or like nine-tailed foxes,
Ah.
or like that kind of like those are Omegaverses are like my favorite genre of Omegaverse right now.
Dude, yeah,
So
send me
good.
some because I actually haven't been reading any kind of animal
Like mythical,
stuff.
like magical creatures.
Yeah.
There's so many like I got really into like this sinkhole of like I followed this, I forgot what the tag was, but it was like all mythical creatures, and it was like mermaids and tentacle monsters and like dragons and like serpents, like giant serpents. Like it was just like a whole bunch of like different like ancient like mythical creature genre, and I was like, I don't know how I got here, but I am living here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, we'll see what fan fiction I end up talking about today, but I am reading one that is Omegaverse right now.
Ooh,
And I
nice.
like it so far.
What series is it fanfic for?
It's Modazushi. Yeah,
Yes.
like
I
Grandmaster
feel like
Demonic
Modazushi
Cultivation.
has some of the best Omegaverse stuff. Like
I agree.
I don't know why, but like their personality dynamic works really well for Omegaverse. Like,
Yes,
so
yes, and because it's like they like each other, but they don't know how to express it. Whereas
they're
like
so bad at communicating their feelings. Oh my god, the struggle.
Yeah, whereas like with like Urha and Scumvillain,
Like Scumvillain,
they do know each other's feelings.
Yeah, but
They're
there
just
isn't as much miscommunication as there is in fucking Modazushi. Like it's so bad.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
So bad.
Yeah. I totally agree. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're on chapter 146.
Yes, chapter 146, Ambivalent Regrets. General Ming snaps the hateful sword. So the three of them walk through the woods into the mountain. Xie Lian reaches for Hua Cheng's hand, but when he holds it, he is surprised that Hua Cheng's skin is burning up with fever. He says, Sanlang, are you changing back? Hua Cheng's skin is hot, but his face remains unchanged and says, soon. It's good that Hua Cheng's going to be back to his full power, but he's going to be extremely weak right before the change. Quickly, Xie Lian sets up a barrier with Roye, plunging Feng Shen, his sword, into the ground as a lock to the sealing circle. Hua Cheng sits down to meditate, but tells Xie Lian to keep Feng Shen for defense. Xie Lian says that he needs a blade that's touched human blood for the array, so he doesn't want to use Feng Shen.
But just then he feels something rubbing against his back. He turns around to see a tiny little silver scimitar blinking with a big silver eye. It's Yiming, except it's shrunk to half its size, and the eye that used to be long and narrow now looks like a big round eye of a child. Xie Lian says, Yiming, how come you're like this too? Pei Ming crouches down and says, so this is the infamous scimitar Yiming. Pei Ming reaches out as if to touch, but Yiming changes face and instantly points its blade threateningly towards him. Pei Ming pulls away just in time before blood is spilt. Xie Lian pets Yiming but says, Feng Shen is still better suited.
Oh, little baby Yiming.
Little baby Yiming.
I'm fucking dying. Yiming was so excited to help, but since it got rejected, it weepingly hops back to Hua Cheng's side. Hua Cheng slaps it and says, what are you crying about? Isn't it all because you're useless? Trash? Oh my god. Yiming falls to the ground like unwanted scrap metal. Xie Lian doesn't know whether to laugh or cry, and he picks up Yiming to pet it more, and he says, nothing of the sort. Don't listen to him. You're not trash. You're very useful. Pei Ming can't stand the mood in the circle anymore, and he steps out. But then he senses something coming and pulls out his sword, getting ready to fight. He comments that Xie Lian has awful luck since the troublesome ghost is heading their way.
To be fair, the whole point of the mission is to find the strongest ghosts and annihilate them, so a powerful ghost coming their way could be counted as good luck too. Hua Cheng says, why does Pei Ming think Xie Lian's luck is the problem? Perhaps the demon is only after Pei Ming. Pei Ming begins to laugh, thinking that's ridiculous, but then he suddenly gets attacked. The demon is back and only aiming for Pei Ming and ignoring Xie Lian. Xie Lian comments, it seems it really is coming for you, General Pei. Pei Ming can't respond because he's busy dodging more attacks. Finally, he lands a hit and a figure appears in the air, splitting into two. It is the swift, life-extinguishing blade demon from before, but he's cut into two separate pieces, an upper half and a lower half.
I love how, like, even in the Blackwater area, everyone was only attacking Pei Ming, and like in here, like only Pei Ming is getting attacked. Like, it's always like, comedic relief.
Do you think that like the fans probably influenced it over the time as like MXTX was writing this book, because Pei Ming's like vibe was so different?
So different, yeah. I like said this before, but like in the beginning, he was like this mysterious person who's like super strong and he like fucks everybody. He's like such a fuck boy, and now he's just like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Always gets attacked.
Yeah.
It's why. How did this happen?
Because like I like him better now.
Yeah, I do too. I do. His personality has like really grown on me.
Yeah.
So funny. And whenever he's like watching Xie Lian try and flirt with Hua Cheng, and he's always like watching from the side. Like,
ho ho.
So ho ho. It's so cute. It gets really worse like as like the Mount Tonglu arc is, because they're sticking together so much now. Like he keeps seeing them like flirting. He just keeps commenting on them. It's so cute.
Yes.
Pei Ming has a sword pointed at the demon's neck, but unexpectedly the demon sneers and reaches out to break Pei Ming's sword with his bare hands. Pei Ming and Xie Lian are stunned silent. Pei Ming is a martial god. Pei Ming is a martial god. How did his spiritual device break so easily? The demon laughs and says, I can't believe you'd use such a trashy sword. But since he has no sword, Pei Ming uses his fists to fight, but the blade demon lets out a palm blast with razor edges like a sword, as expected of a blade demon. Xie Lian wants to help, but Hua Cheng stops him. Pei Ming also shouts, no need to interfere! As a martial god of the north, how can he afford to lose to a mere blade demon?
However, the blade demon is extremely agile, even though he only has the upper half of his body. Pei Ming keeps missing his hits and at the same time gaining more injuries. His face grows Grimmer. There we go. His face grows grimmer, but he refuses to retreat. Xie Lian wants to help, but he doesn't want to humiliate Pei Ming by jumping in. Instead, he says, General Pei, come back first. There's something weird going on. Can't you tell? This man knows too well of your sword techniques. Then he opens a small gap in the barrier to let Pei Ming inside the circle. Xie Lian asks what he will do now that his spiritual device is broken. But Pei Ming replies that the broken sword actually isn't his spiritual device. He actually never had one forged to begin with.
And that's really rare, because like all gods kind of have like their go-to spiritual device. Like the Windmaster had his Windmaster fan, and the Earthmaster has his shovel, and Roye is Xie Lian's spiritual device. So for Pei Ming to be like, I never had a spiritual device, it's like, but how are you a god?
Yeah.
Xie Lian is curious and says, why not? Normally, martial gods forge their favorite weapons into a spiritual device. Why did Pei Ming not do that? But just then, the blade demon responds, that's obviously because his favorite sword no longer exists. Pei Ming frowns and says, who exactly are you? The blade demon humps. Who am I? Ha! Pei Ming, back then you snapped me with a palm blast. Did you ever expect today to happen? Pei Ming's face grows solemn at these words, and he says, you're Ming Guang. Hearing that name, the blade demon's smile fades. Xie Lian is confused. Ming Guang is Pei Ming's general name. How come there is another Ming Guang? Is this a case of another imposter? But Pei Ming quickly explains that Ming Guang is his general name, but also the name of his old sword.
When Pei Ming was...
Yes. Oh, sorry. General name is because like every god has like a temple, and every temple has like their own like palace name, and Ming Guang is his palace name.
Yeah, which gets confusing sometimes. There's actually
has 3 titles.
There's actually a TikTok that's been going around that's perfect for all of like danmei novels. The audio is like, put the bowl. I put the bowl on the glass. What glass? The glass in the microwave. Okay, got it. Then I closed the door. What door? The door to the microwave. What is wrong with you? So the audio is perfect because it'll be like, Han Guangjun, who's that? It's like the main love interest.
Okay,
Lan
yeah.
Wangji, who's that? It's also Han Guangjun, the love interest.
Yeah,
Lan
it's the
Zan,
same person.
wait, who is that? It's the fucking love interest. I just told you,
fucking
same person. What is wrong with you?
It's so bad. Like everyone has fucking so many names. Like even like Xie Lian, people like Junwu calls him Shanlei, which is also the name of his kingdom, but also his title.
Yeah.
And Pei Ming, who's also Ming Guang.
Yep.
And like, yep.
Everyone's name is confusing. And then Xie Lian's name is now also Ge, because that's what he gets called. And then
Brother.
older brother, and also Crown Prince, and also Your Highness.
Oh, yeah,
And
Taiji
Dianxia.
Dianxia.
Everyone calls it
Yeah,
Taiji Dianxia.
Yeah, so he's Your Highness,
So-
what is it? Yeah, it's like the whole title thing. So.
Everyone in every one of these danmei novels, you have to memorize at least 3 versions of a person's name, because
And the author writes
there's
them
more.
interchangeably.
sometimes there's family members who call them different things, and like
Oh my god, yes.
like
Like nicknames.
yes, like Aining, or
Yeah.
like Ashan, or like Langer, or it's like so many fucking different. It's so
Honor
stupid.
Gongzi. Like there's just so many names.
There's so many, you guys. And then like servants call them different things too. It's so confusing. And I'm Chinese, and it's a friggin' nightmare. We don't
And
do
sometimes
this in
yeah, like they don't always refer to people by their names. They also refer to them by their like status, like you know,
in relation.
like gentleman, like sir or something.
Yeah.
Or like sect leader is another word. So they're just words everywhere. So many words.
Yeah, sorry about the tangent, but hopefully
Okay,
that will
anyways,
help
yeah.
remind you next time you're like, who's that? Like, I already told you.
And if someone's title pops up, we'll just remind you who that is again.
We'll try.
So.
When Pei Ming was mortal, he had a blade named Ming Guang, which he personally snapped in half a hundreds of years ago. Okay, I'm gonna change that sentence.
Yeah. He snapped it in half. Hundreds
Okay.
of years ago.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? All right, I'm gonna try again. When Pei Ming was mortal, he had a blade named Ming Guang, which he personally snapped in half. Oh, that sentence hurts my brain.
I'm sorry. So many S's.
I'm going to say which he snapped in half hundreds of years ago. This is one of the 4 famous tales, the sword snapping general. No wonder the blade demon knew all of Pei Ming's techniques and could predict all his moves. He was the spirit of that old sword. In the past, Pei Ming ascended as soon as he broke his sword in half, so that's why the blade demon had a spiritual light on his wound. Xie Lian asks, General Pei, why does your sword resent you so much? What did you do to it? What's the story behind the sword snapping general? Pei Ming quickly eats healing pills and says, some raggedy story from hundreds of years ago. What's the point talking about it now? Let's find a way to beat him first.
Ming Guang uses his hand as a sword and slashes at Function? Sorry. Ming Guang uses his sword. Now
I know.
You got me all tongue-tied, damn it.
Sorry.
It's like contagious.
Ah.
Water. Ming Guang uses his hand as a sword and slashes at Function relentlessly. And remember that Function is being used as like a seal to the circle barrier. So if Function ever breaks, it's gonna ruin the entire barrier.
Yep.
Pei Ming and Xie Lian are still inside Roy's barrier circle with Hua Cheng on the floor in meditation, and Function is the only thing holding the array together. Pei Ming asks Xie Lian if Function will hold, but Xie Lian says that Function is old. Pei Ming replies, "Oh, that's all right. Ming Guang is old too." Xie Lian sighs in relief and says, "If that's the case, as long as there's no outside help, then we should be all right to hang out for a..." But before he can finish, they hear heavy footsteps coming towards them. Soon, a giant, savage-looking burly man in broken armor appears. The burly man sees Ming Guang chopping madly and walks over curiously. Ming Guang notices him and says, "Hey, big guy, give me a hand. Help me knock out the sword and break this array. I'll split the heads inside with you."
Unfortunately, yeah, I know, he's such bad luck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the burly man doesn't speak the same language and shouts back angrily, thinking that Ming Guang is provoking him. The two get into a shouting match where nothing is achieved except veins popping. Pei Ming is hoping that they fight each other and leave them alone. But unluckily, at that moment, the burly man notices Pei Ming and Xie Lian and stares at them closely. Xie Lian and Pei Ming quickly cover their faces with their hands, but the burly man shouts, "It's you, scrap collecting cultivator, and Pei Su's boss." It's Kamo. Do you guys remember him from the Banyue arc from like episode early?
Long ago. Episode early. Yeah, it was probably like episode like 15 or something, right? Like, so
yeah. Xie Lian responds in the Banyue language, "General Kamo, please calm down."
Kamo had escaped his seal during Montonglu's tremors. Seeing his old enemies, his eyes grow red and he kicks Fengshen so hard that it knocks it off center by an inch. Seeing this, Ming Guang claps and cheers and continues to shoot out blast after blast. Fengshen shakes harder under their combined attacks, and Xie Lian can feel... Oh, that's the end of a sentence. Fengshen shakes harder under their combined attacks. Xie Lian feels Hua Cheng's forehead, but it is burning with heat. He says, "What should we do?"
So that brings us to the next chapter. But what is chat saying? Yeah, there's so many freaking names.
There are so many.
Also, I hope we're the only podcast about Chinese gay wizards.
I haven't seen any other danmei podcasts, so I think we're good. Yeah, I think we are the only one. Oh my god, Nemesis says, "I've heard about Omega Verse Dragons from Jenny. I did talk about it very briefly on stream, but it was very not safe for work, so I had to like move the discussion to Discord. So I was like, I can't tell you that much about it without getting too into the details.
Lamau, that's
it was wild. Yeah.
Omegaverse is great, you guys.
Absolutely.
It's complex. It's deep.
It's so different. It's so good.
Love it. Who was that one guy from chapter 15? So basically, there was the Banyue arc in which there was a city that had all of their soldiers still like around as ghosts, and they were reliving the same massacre over and over. And
well, it's really good to bring this up and bring up the characters because they're gonna come up again. Because there was Pei Su, which is Pei Ming Jr. He's like Pei Ming's one of his descendants who later became a god, and he slaughtered all of the citizens in Banyue City in order to save the Guoxie of Banyue, whose name is also Banyue. So the Guoxie of Banyue, whose name is Banyue, he wanted to save her, so he killed Kamo. And so Kamo has this really big grudge against the Guoxie of Banyue and Pei Su, and also Pei Ming, because Pei Ming is related to Pei Su. And Xie Lian for like all this mess. For killing all his like brothers in the pit.
Yeah.
The pit of death.
Yeah. I mean, it's very confusing. So you just have to go back
and know that Kamo was this big general guy, and he got fucked over by Xie Lian and Pei Su and Banyue. So he's pissed off at them.
Was that the one with the well? I mean, it's not a well, it's like a pit.
It's a pit, yeah.
It's
basically like this, like, it was like this, like, what, like...
giant building
tower?
that has nothing in the middle.
Bottom.
So you climb to the top and you look down, it's just like, straight down.
Yeah. And
Love
then
it.
There was like a bunch of like ghost generals, like ghost soldiers stuck inside them. So they were feeding them like live humans to keep them alive.
To pacify their resentful spirit so that they could eventually move on.
But then Hua Cheng went in and he just fucking slaughtered everybody.
Yeah.
Like, he just killed everyone in one go.
Which like, isn't it better to just have them all die? Because then their souls can rest.
Yeah. Like, Banyue was feeling too guilty to kill them, so that's why she let them live. And then Pei Su was like, she sacrificed herself to let them like tear her apart. And Pei Su was like, "No, I love you, Banyue. Don't get torn apart." So he like fed them humans so that they wouldn't attack Banyue.
Which they did anyway. You know what?
It was all fucked up. It's all fucked up.
Plot. Yeah, works for me. All right, cool.
Next chapter.
Chapter 147, Ambivalent Regrets, Pei Ming snaps the hateful sword. Oh, where is that? Okay. Chapter 147. Kamo and Ming Guang are both attacking Fengshen, but they also wow. Whew. Okay. Keimo and Mingguang are both attacking Fang Xin, but they also are getting in each other's way. Xie Lian sees that there is friction between the two, so he grabs Pei Ming and says, General Pei, Keimo won't believe you mean him no harm and will keep coming after you. Quick, press the fingers of both your hands together, cross your wrists above your head, then press downwards before opening your arms. This is the hand gesture his people uses to ask for truce. Then he grabs Pei Ming's injured arm. Pei Ming hesitates and is about to do the gesture, but Mingguang has overheard everything and he rushes in front of Keimo to do the exact same gesture first. God damn it.
Yet unexpectedly, when Keimo sees Mingguang doing this gesture, he grows even angrier and he swings at Mingguang, sending him flying into the air. Pei Ming is stunned and then a second later realizes what happened and says, Your Highness, I thought Mingguang was cunning, but I hadn't thought you were more cunning than he is. I'm very impressed. Xie Lian purposely fed fake information to Mingguang, tricking him into doing a gesture that basically means fuck your wife and murder your whole family in the Banyue language. Mingguang quickly comes back and tries to remedy the situation, but his shouting looks like he's cursing Keimo. The two of them end up beating each other up, cursing each other as they strike. Pei Ming internally cheers them on.
Fucking Xie Lian.
So smart, so clever.
Finally, Mingguang, extremely irritated, waves at Keimo, points at Pei Ming and Xie Lian, and then does the rude hand gesture again. Keimo finally stops attacking and frowns. Are you doing this to me or to them? Mingguang tries again, turning to Pei Ming with the rude gestures, and then turning to Keimo with a calm face. He does this a few times over and over until finally Keimo understands that they have the same enemy. Now that they're unified, Mingguang and Keimo charge at the array together. Xie Lian's mind spins rapidly and he shouts in the Banyue tongue, General Pei Jr., Banyue! Keimo is angry. Are they close by too? Xie Lian shouts again, General Pei Jr., Banyue! Keimo is here! Don't come over! Hurry and run away and don't come back!
Keimo is instantly enraged and he says, As if I'd let you! And he runs away to find them. Mingguang shouts at him, Oi! Big guy! What are you doing running away? He must be lying! Come back! Dumbass! Xie Lian wipes his sweat and says with a grateful heart, Learning another language is infinitely beneficial for life. Then he turns to Mingguang and says, Stop. Keep this up and we won't be so courteous. Pei Ming pulls over the lower half of Mingguang's body and says, Did you forget something? You better not do anything unnecessary. But then he awkwardly grabs onto one of the legs, not looking very threatening at all. Mingguang says with a deadpan expression, Are you shitting me?
Xie Lian tells Pei Ming that he doesn't look very convincing. Perhaps he can grab something more critical? Pei Ming responds, Your Highness, don't say something like that so easily. Why don't you come grab where it hurts? Xie Lian says, Never mind. Neither of them wants to touch that place. After some thought, they decide to each grab a leg and pull apart, looking much more threatening. Xie Lian demands, Please back off. Otherwise, your true body might suffer some breakage. However, Mingguang responds, Ha! Did you actually believe my lower body is useless? Then the legs suddenly kick out without warning, forcing Xie Lian and Pei Ming to let go. It does a fancy maneuver that looks clean and impressive. And Xie Lian praises, Wow, nice.
Even in a threatening situation, Xie Lian is always impressed by good martial arts skills. Unfortunately, this barrier is now compromised. They originally thought that Mingguang could only control the upper half and the bottom half was dead. So they brought it inside the circle as a threat. But now they realize that the bottom half can move on its own. It's very much alive. Mingguang was only pretending the bottom half was dead to sneak into the barrier. No one inside the circle has a weapon, so Xie Lian calls out for Yi Ming. Yi Ming was laying on the ground like scrap metal, but it instantly shoots up and flies into Xie Lian's hand. He slashes out at the legs, but the legs transform into a verdant pinnacle sword, nearly 3 feet long with boiling, killing intent. Ooh, so the legs randomly turn to a sword?
Because, I mean, technically he's half sword with a
sword demon.
humanoid form.
Yes.
Xie Lian is about to attack again, but he notices that Hua Chen's hands are shaking. Seeing him distracted, the verdant sword strikes again. The verdant sword strikes, but Yi Ming flies out of Xie Lian's hand to block the attack. Xie Lian crouches in front of Hua Chen and says, Yi Ming, please hang on for a bit. He calls out to Hua Cheng, Salang, can you hear me? Don't endure anymore. Come out. Meanwhile, Ming parries against the Ming Guang sword, but since Ming shrank, it looks like a little child getting beaten around by an adult. Eventually, Ming manages to land a strike, and Xie Lian says, "Good, Ming." Pei Ming then says, "Wait, Your Highness, I think when you complimented it, it grew bigger."
Yeah, I did.
Xie Lian compliments it some more. Ming, listen well. You're handsome and carefree, you're cute and kind. You're so clever and intelligent, gentle and determined. You're number one in the world.
Oh my god.
And then it just keeps growing bigger, that's right.
Yep. With every praise that Xie Lian sings, Ming's body grows longer, now looking like a teenager instead of a child. Its attacks are more vicious and swift, and the Ming Guang blade is having trouble keeping up. The Ming Guang upper half outside cries out, "What kind of wicked spell is this? How come I've never heard of it before?" Ming Guang starts to make hand seals, transferring all his energy from his upper body to his blade, making the sword grow even stronger. Quickly, Pei Ming grabs Ming and taps it against Xie Lian's lips, saying, "Don't worry, watch this." Xie Lian is confused, but for some reason, after that action, Ming has grown even longer.
Guys, what
Come
the
on.
hell?
Come on. This innuendo? Come on. Yep.
Ming Guang can't take it anymore and shouts, "What the fuck? And what wickedness is that?" Xie Lian replies, "Truth be told, I also want to know what caused this." Ming's spirits are revitalized, and he lunges at Ming Guang relentlessly. Xie Lian goes to check on Hua Cheng. Pei Ming is about to attack Ming Guang's upper half since it's been weakened, when suddenly Mo returns crying out, "You cunning midland cultivators! You lied again! Go collect junk for the rest of your life! They weren't nearby at all!" Ming Guang is overjoyed at Mo's return and points to Feng Shen. "Big guy, quick! Knock the sword over! Once the array is broken, the ones inside will be helpless."
Mo attacks Feng Shen, and it finally falls over, breaking the array. Uh-oh. The Ming Guang sword flies out of the circle and returns to Ming Guang's side, transforming into two legs so that his body is stitched back together. Then he gestures to Mo, communicating that he will take Pei Ming, and Mo can take Xie Lian. Mo walks towards Xie Lian, who is blocking Hua Cheng, protecting him. Ming Guang smiles and says, "Pei Ming, are you going to snap me in half again? The sword snapping general. Ha! What a beautiful tale. That such a thing could become a beautiful tale. It's obvious the world is blind." Pei Ming replies, "I never took it for a beautiful tale." Ming Guang shouts out, "Bullshit! You know full well just how many brothers and subordinates who followed you for so many years you've killed." Oh, so it's revealed that Pei Ming has some murder on his hands. There's some resentful energy here.
Meanwhile, Xie Lian faces Mo with Ming, worried that if he makes a mistake, Hua Cheng will get hurt. Mo declares he won't be fooled by any more cunning tricks. Xie Lian says that he's not lying. Banyue and Pei Jr. really are there. Mo is pissed, thinking that he's lying again. "Do you take me for a fool? A dumb trick like this." But just then, Banyue really does appear, jumping down from a tree and tossing out a bunch of scorpion snakes. Mo is afraid of the snakes and falls to the ground. Xie Lian tells Mo, "I told you so." But Mo ignores him and shouts at Banyue for purposefully throwing snakes at him, even though she knows he hates them. Banyue immediately apologizes. "I'm sorry, but I only know how to throw scorpion-tailed snakes." Pei Jr. also appears. Xie Lian asks how come they're here. Weren't they all at the Rainmaster's? Banyue replies that that's why they're here. Banyue replies that that's why they're there. They came following the Rainmaster.
Ooh, so the Rainmaster is also nearby somewhere.
Yeah, everyone's coming around again.
Yes,
And, you know, Banyue is just such a nice, polite girl who's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm causing a massacre. I'm sorry that you're getting murdered by my hand."
Well, Mo, like obviously they're fighting, and Mo was like, "How dare you use my weakness against me?" And it's like, you're in a fight. Come on, bro. Like, it's not like she's not going to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Sucks to be you, nerd.
Yeah, sucks to suck. Yeah. Don't be afraid of snakes. Okay, so that's the end of this chapter. Let's see. Do we have any new comments?
So did
yes.
anyone give the soldiers Hua Cheng killed a proper burial? I remember Hua Cheng was threatening to desecrate their bodies. Oh, that's a good question.
No, I don't think. Because later on, after the Banyue case was resolved, Heaven people came in to like clean everything up, but I don't think they cared enough to give the soldiers a proper burial.
Sheesh.
Heaven.
Wow, yeah, Heaven's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yiming be a praise hoe? Yes. I love that Yiming's a praise hoe. I love he's just Is there is there fan fiction of this?
There are. I've definitely seen fan fiction of Yiming being a little baby sword and like Xie Lian like petting it and it's like blushing and being all cute. But it's all like cutesy fanfic. I've never seen like
It's like weird how it gets kind of perverted.
Yeah, I mean, because it's obviously like an analogy for like other stuff.
Yep.
Of Hua Cheng, because it's a part of Hua Cheng. It's a part of his body, and it feels all his emotions. So, yeah. From like a immature level. Yeah. It's like if he was like a little, like just emotions and no, was it like id or no id to hold you back? It's just like when you feel all your emotions.
Ego? No.
Ego, yeah. Id and ego, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, hello, Kate. Kate says I need Yiming fanfic. There's a couple good ones.
I want it. I just want to see.
Yes. Okay, so that brings us into chapter 148. Ming Guang looks at Pei Jr. because this is their first time meeting. He begins to mock him for throwing away his god title to save a little girl. Pei Ming's motto used to be brothers like limbs, women like clothes. Basically, it's like an ancient way of saying bros before hoes. Wow. So how did he end up with a descendant like Pei Su? Even his taste in women is bad, and he calls Banyue a quail. He tells Pei Ming, were you cucked all those hundreds of years ago and bore someone else's spawn? Ha! Pei Su shoots out a palm blast at Ming Guang, but he jumps away, transforming into a long verdant sword. Then he flies into Keimo's hand.
Once Keimo grabs the blade, a dark cloud of demonic energy covers his entire body. He's more powerful now. Pei Su and Banyue work together to attack him, but Pei Su has no spiritual power, and Banyue doesn't know how to attack with aggression. On top of that, Keimo yelled at her for using scorpion snakes against him, so she feels too embarrassed to bring them out again, which is like, what's the point? Nice. So nice. Xie Lian watches them fight, but then decides that he doesn't need to step in to help because he realizes that Keimo and Ming Guang are incompatible. Keimo is used to using a large mace as a weapon, so a light blade like a sword is kind of awkward for him.
After a moment, Xie Lian makes his move. Remembering how kissing Yiming made it grow stronger, he wonders if the same thing will work again. So he turns to Hua Cheng and closes his eyes and leans in to kiss his forehead. Pei Ming sees it happen and comments, Your Highness, you've gotten it wrong. What's the use in kissing the forehead? Xie Lian is embarrassed at being caught and says, General Pei, can you not look? Pei Ming says, all right, and then turns to observe the fight. He starts criticizing Keimo's sword forms and says he's poorly wielding the sword, and he says, if you don't know how to use swords, then don't use them. Ming Guang says back, yeah? What about you? You who only snaps swords and stands around uselessly while criticizing.
At that, Pei Ming suddenly flies into the brawl and easily snaps the Ming Guang sword in half. Pei Su uses the chance to throw a wave of snakes at Keimo, covering him entirely and throwing him to the ground. Pei Ming looks down at Ming Guang and says, naturally, I'd know where you break the easiest. Quickly, Banyue pulls out 2 clay pots and seals the shocked Pei Ming and angry Keimo inside. Ming Guang. Quickly, Banyue pulls out 2 clay pots and seals the shocked Ming Guang and angry Keimo inside. Xie Lian is relieved and thinks, more people definitely get things done faster. Banyue asks Xie Lian if Hua Cheng is his son because she saw him kiss him earlier. Xie Lian is too embarrassed to reply and covers his face. Banyue finds Hua Cheng cute and approaches him, pulling on one of his little braids. She asks if he's sick and if she should also put him in a clay pot to heal. Aww, she's so nice.
So cute. Pei Su tells her to leave it alone. Xie Lian will take care of him. Pei Ming then approaches Banyue. This is their first time meeting, so remember, Pei Ming kind of has a grudge against Banyue because it's her fault, kind of inadvertently, that his descendant Pei Su got banished. Well, not banished, he got exiled. So basically, he got kicked out of heaven and became immortal for, I think it was like 200 years or something, because he was trying to save Banyue and caused all this like murder to happen. So Pei Ming has a lot of anger towards Banyue. This is their first time meeting. Big deal. So Pei Su tries to cover her, but Pei Ming pushes him aside, and everyone is tense, expecting some sort of argument. But just then, Banyue suddenly turns and runs behind Xie Lian, but she doesn't look scared. Instead, she looks disgusted. Pei Ming is confused until Xie Lian reminds him that he smells really bad due to the ghost scent candy. Pei Ming's face grows dark. Xie Lian quickly changes the subject and asks why Pei Su and Banyue are there. Pei Su explains that some of the ghosts going to Mount Tonglu captured farmers in the Rainmaster's domain. They volunteered to go help and were in pursuit when they had heard Xie Lian calling their name.
It was a lucky coincidence that Xie Lian had randomly called out their names, and they also happened to be in the area. Pei Ming asked Pei Su how did he end up in the Rainmaster's domain in the first place? Did he go there to be together with Banyue? As it turns out, no. It was the Rainmaster that found and saved Pei Su. After Pei Su was exiled, he traveled aimlessly and beat up Qirong's subordinates in his free time. Qirong got angry and gathered a large group of ghosts to ambush Pei Su. Since he now had a mortal body, he was unable to defend himself and was heavily injured. The Rainmaster happened to be passing by at the time and saved him and took him back to heal.
Pei Ming is shocked that the Rainmaster helped his descendant, since there is bad blood between them. Ming Guang is still in the clay pot, but he overheard the conversation. After realizing that the Rainmaster is a former citizen of the kingdom of Yushi, he mocks Pei Ming, saying, "Pei Ming, did you sleep with so many women just to produce this kind of useless descendant? He actually needed the protection of someone from the kingdom of Yushi to survive, and he's even speaking well of them. Truly, each generation gets worse than the one before it. Ha!" And from this statement, Xie Lian learns the truth of the situation.
Back before Pei Ming ascended, he was the general of the kingdom Shuli. He was the general of the kingdom Shuli. Their mortal enemy was the kingdom of Yushi. The Rainmaster was the last ruler of Yushi, and Pei Ming was the general that crushed their kingdom in the final war. It's natural for both parties to hold a long grudge. Pei Su places a talisman on the clay pot so that Ming Guang is silenced. Then he asks Pei Ming why he also came to Mount Tonglu. Did I say Pei Su or did I say Pei Ming?
I don't remember. You want to just say it again just in case?
Pei Su places a talisman on the clay pot so that Ming Guang is silenced. Then he asks Pei Ming why he's also here at Mount Tonglu. Pei Ming reveals that he volunteered in exchange for shortening Pei Su's exile. Suddenly, the talisman on the clay pot burns up, and Ming Guang's voice shouts out, "Pei Ming, do you still remember what you said back then?" Pei Ming stops Pei Su from sticking another talisman and replies, "I've spoken too many words in this lifetime. What are you referring to?"
So Ming Guang has a lot of resentment right now. Like, he's just
Angry.
letting it all out. Yeah, he's really angry. Ming Guang speaks with deep hatred. Back then, Pei Ming killed all of his subordinates, and he used the excuse, "Some people can be killed, some can't. Some things can be done, and some can't." How hypocritical of him to protect his descendant and wipe his ass when he's done all these terrible deeds. How come Pei Ming's brothers in battle deserve to die, but his descendant gets to live? He says, "Someone like you who tosses used clothes and ditches used limbs, is your little Pei a gem and the rest of us weeds?" So there's a lot of Pei Ming reveals happening right now where he literally killed all of his subordinates. He used to be in a big war against the Rainmaster. And I also kind of like this reference that Ming Guang used to limbs and clothes from how earlier that bros before hoes statement also referring to limbs and clothes.
Yeah. Pei Ming suddenly says, "You are not Ming Guang." The pot goes silent, and then the Ming Guang says, "What bullshit are you spouting? Have you not seen if I'm Ming Guang? Did you not see my form?" Pei Ming says, "No, you're not Ming Guang." The pot replies, "Then who else can I be?" Pei Ming replies, "I think you're Rong Guang." The pot falls silent again. Pei Su explains that Pei Su explains to Xie Lian that Rong Guang was the deputy general who was most loyal to Pei Ming, his most capable subordinate. Then he explains the full story behind the tale of the sword-snapping general.
So when Pei Ming was mortal, he was a general who was never once defeated in love or war for decades. He naturally had skills, but he also had the support of his deputy general named Rong Guang. Was it Rong Guang? Rong
Yeah.
Rong Guang was famous for his manipulation and deception, and though they had different personalities and styles, they knew each other since they were young, and they unexpectedly worked really well together. One in light and one in shadow. Their relationship was so good that even Pei Ming's sword Ming Guang is a combination of their names Pei Ming and Rong Guang.
Pei Ming had a successful military career, but the highest title he could ever get was general. No general could ever be king, and he always had to bow and kneel before the king of his country. Pei Ming himself never really cared about that, but Rong Guang and his other subordinates grumbled on his behalf. Rong Guang constantly told the other men, General Pei deserves more than that status he's been given. General Pei and us are oppressed. The kingdom of Shuli needs General Pei and us to save it. Eventually, they plotted to throw a coup against the king and place Pei Ming as king.
But on the other hand, Pei Ming had zero interest in becoming king. All he cared about was fighting battles and bedding beautiful women. He didn't need to be a king to do any of that. So every time Rong Guang hinted at it, Pei Ming skillfully stopped all further discussion. But that didn't stop Rong Guang, and he slowly became more and more obsessed. Eventually, the group decided that they will follow through with the revolt first, and then Pei Ming will be forced to be king. Rong Guang and the army started a coup under Pei Ming's name. Pei Ming could not ignore it anymore, and he picked up his sword and charged into the palace to fight back. This fight was the last battle of his life.
So this is getting revealed very quickly, but yeah, our Pei Ming boy, the comedic relief, has his own
Tragic
arc.
backstory.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I also think this is a really good place to pause this episode.
Cool. Oh wait, no, actually, are you sure? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, the next 3 chapters is
They're all
a
tied
pack.
together. Yes, yes.
Everybody
Yeah, so
has a story.
A lot of reveals. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I do also like how they brought Banyue and Pei Su back because they were just gone from the story for so long.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I don't know how much I can say about this part. We need to find out more. There's definitely a lot more to the story so far. I especially like what happens with like the kingdom of Yushi and what has to do with the Rainmaster, and so I don't want to talk too much about it before.
I guess what we can do is summarize, because there's so much things that were exposition, but maybe it's a really good idea to like summarize what has been revealed so far without giving spoilers.
Yes,
for what's
you're right.
Going on in the future. Yeah.
So
basically, there was this kingdom of Yushi, and then there was the kingdom of Shuli, and all we know so far is that Pei Ming was the general of Shuli, and he won against the battle of Yushi, which made the Rainmaster
ascend.
Get defeated. Yeah.
Yeah.
To get defeated, and then she ascended. So
Yeah.
that's what's going on with them.
And then
At the same time,
yeah, at the same time, it looks like Pei Ming decided to kill all of his subordinates, along with his like childhood friend Rong Guang, who was trying to plan out a coup to help Pei Ming ascend to like the throne. Yeah, because he really didn't.
Pei Ming is like, I don't want to be a fucking king.
I just want to be a general. Like, I want to fight battles and fuck bitches. Like, why are you trying to give me governmental duties? I don't want to be a civil servant. And Rong Guang, just like assumed, as well as all of his like army people, like they all assumed that
he's like, no,
Pei Ming needed this.
Better. He deserves to be king, and they were obsessed with the idea of making Pei Ming into a king. So they start this fucking revolt, and Pei Ming's like, what the fuck are y'all doing, you idiots? Stop this. And then it ended really terribly.
Yep.
And everyone got slaughtered.
And then
oh yeah, so basically during that time, Pei Ming snapped his own sword. and then he ascended, which is where the story of the sword snapping general comes from. It's one of the famous four tales. And this entire time, we thought that this sword demon was Ming Guang, the sword that was snapped in half, full of resentful energy. But it's actually Rong Guang pretending to be the sword Ming Guang.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So in death, you can become a sword.
Yes.
When you ghost, you be a sword.
You can be anything you want, and if you want to be a sword,
Yep.
you totally can. Yeah. So that's basically where we are at with the reveals at this moment.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to our off topics. I have so many options because we haven't recorded in a few. We haven't recorded in a few weeks. Wait, what was the last one I talked about? Because I don't want to
if you
overlap.
Let me pull up the.
I'm so glad we started taking notes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. So that we know where we. So the last one you talked about was the 1,000 Come and Go Stew, which was like so good. Yeah.
Okay.
When Hua Cheng got brainwashed into.
So did I ever talk about Chuaning is dead? Have I ever talked about that one?
If you did, I don't have it in my notes.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna talk about Chuaning is dead. It is okay. So there's this what's her name? There's a author whose name is Sentient. Oh my god, let me scroll through this. I have her Sentient Ren. There we go. Sentient.
I want to copy paste her name so I can write into the doc.
Yeah. Okay, so this author, Sentient Ren, she wrote a bunch of Husky and the White Hat Shizun AUs called Heavenly Rift AU, and they're so good. And you've read this before. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked about it before in certain episodes, but I'm gonna like talk into detail.
Talk about it again. It's fine.
Yeah. So I can talk about Chuaning is dead. The other one, which is like 3,799 steps across 5 years.
Oh, the steps.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then there's also the between Pear Blossom and Hai Tong. And then there's like another one that's like without his hate, without his heart. It's just like four really extremely sad stories based on the Heavenly Rift disaster, where it turns Moran into like a blackened disciple. Like that's the whole, or like maybe not a blackened disciple, but like one of the stories is about like death and stuff. So Chuaning is dead. Out of all of them, this one's my favorite one. And the whole concept is that you guys remember. Well, I mean you guys don't know, but Jenny, you know that Chuaning turns into a child because he gets poisoned by this like willow vine that causes his like body to regress into like a body of like a 10-year-old boy. Yeah, a little boy, and it's he transforms into it if he gets like really like overwhelmed, like if he uses too much spiritual power, and he'll just go back to being a boy. But he keeps a secret from everyone. Like no one knows that he does this except for his doctor and his like and the sect leader. But he doesn't tell his disciples. So on the day of the Heavenly Rift that was supposed to kill Shime, instead Moran and Chuaning get like saved by like people, and they get brought back to the sect. But like Moran is like heavily injured, of course, and when he wakes up, he like him and all the other disciples believe that Chuaning is still back at like Butterfly Town. They're like, let's go look for him. But in actuality, Chuaning woke up as like a child, and he like decided right then and there, as he's talking to the doctor and like Shu Zhenyang, the sect leader, he's like, I don't want to be Chuaning anymore. I'd rather just be dead. I'd rather just die. Like I'm gonna kill Chuaning. So the title is Chuaning is dead. He decides to stay as a child, and just tell everyone that he's dead. Tell his disciples, tell the whole cultivation world that like they can't find Chu Wanning. He's gone. He's dead. And he thinks that people are going to be sad for maybe like a week or something, at most 2 weeks.
Because he has such a low self-esteem. He's like, no one's going to care or remember me.
I love that he has the lowest self-esteem. I like love his self-pity.
Yeah.
It's like my fucking favorite, listening to him like hate
so
himself.
sad.
Oh,
This is
it's
inner monologue of like depression.
Yes, he fully on believes that nobody loves him, no one cares about him, that his existence is just a burden on everyone else, and that he is everyone's bad luck.
You like this?
That he has he's unlikable, that he's ugly, that no one wants to be around him because of his like thorny personality. And so and how the last thing that Moran said to him was, it should be your disciple, like it should be you who dies today, not your disciple, because he like Moran believed that Xie was gonna die on that day, and he believed that he himself was gonna die. And so Chu Wanning took that phrase to heart and like repeats it almost like a mantra, and is like, yeah, I should have died, not my disciples. I'm just gonna die then. And so he like just and tells everyone, oh no, Chu Wanning's dead, and everyone's like, what the fuck, are you serious? And you can see like everyone is so sad. Like Shumang of course gets like so extremely sad, like he won't stop crying. Moran has like the worst reaction. He's like violent, he's angry, he's sad. He hangs out with Shastini, like the baby Chu Wanning, like a lot, and is constantly saying like, I'll protect you, my junior, like, you know.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. And the thing is, like, a whole year passes. Like, he literally decides that he's going to be dead, and he just like is just there for a whole year pretending to be Shastini instead of Chu Wanning. Everyone just still like Moran still goes back to Butterfly Town to like dig through piles of corpses. He like leaves like he asks around. I think he leaves like signs like saying like missing person everywhere. He like goes to everywhere, knocks on every door to try and find like Chu Wanning. And it's so sad because the whole time like you just listen to Chu Wanning's inner monologue about how like nobody loves him, no one cares about him, but then he's like not sure, maybe people do love him, maybe people do care about him.
After seeing all this,
And it kind of has like a resolved ending. I wouldn't say it's a happy ending, but it's resolved.
Okay.
And it's so sad. So sad. And I can talk more about the other stories in this AU in our bottom show, but this heavily riff AU really fucked me up, bro. It fucked me up so much.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Alright.
It's just a bunch of depressing stories.
I love depressing stories. That's like all I want to read now.
Oh man, I'm like in the opposite mindset right now, where I'm only reading like really cute, happy stuff. 'Cause, like, I have like a to read list, and it's really long, but I have a mix of different genres on there, and there's a mix of like angst and like fluff and like smut. And I was just like, for some reason, I was in the mood to just read a bunch of really cute, fluffy, like family-oriented stories. The one I'm gonna talk about is really, really short, and it's pretty recently came out. It's called Baby Pictures by Dizzy Dreams, and I'm just gonna really quickly put the title in the notes so that I don't lose it for a second. Okay, so this one is like not even like it's not very deep. It's just a cute story. It's very like surface level, but it made my heart just clench. So basically, it's Lanzhan's point of view, and this is modern AU, and Lanzhan is finally introducing Wei Ying to his brother for the first time. And he's really, really nervous because he's like, oh, my brother can be kind of protective, and Wei Ying can be kind of a lot, so like I hope this meeting goes really well. But then when Wei Ying comes over, he like really wins Lan Huan over, and Lan Huan decides to embarrass his brother by showing him like all these little baby pictures of Lanzhan when he was younger, like Lanzhan dressed up in a dress and Lanzhan taking a bubble bath, and Wei Ying is like, oh my god, this is so cute, I love it. And then a few weeks later, Lanzhan decides he should also introduce Wei Ying to his uncle. So Wei Ying is even more nervous, and he's like, and honestly, they don't really get along. Like, there's really like awkward, tense conversations at the dinner table. But then later on, after dinner, Lon John's Wei Ying sees that there's a bunch of baby pictures all over the wall in Lon John in the uncle's house because the uncle really like loves his nephews. So there's just like a bunch of cute little baby pictures of Lon John's first day in elementary school, like Lon John going to the zoo, like Lon John's first Christmas. There's a bunch of cute little baby pictures, and they like bond over the photos. But then later on. And then later on, Wei Ying decides like, oh, okay, it's my turn to show you my family now. So he invites Lon Zhan over to dinner with his sister and his brother, and it goes really well. Like he gets along with Yan Li, and he, doesn't really like Zhang Cheng because he's like really mean to Wei Ying and like bullies him. But like overall, the dinner goes well, and Lon Zhan's feeling really good about like them finally meeting each other's families after dating for so long. But like on the drive home, he realizes that like Wei Ying's kind of quiet and he seems kind of upset. And Lon Zhan's like, "Oh, Wei Ying, like what's wrong? Are you feeling okay? Like, did you think the dinner didn't go well? Like, should I try harder to like get along with your family?" And Wei Ying is like, "No, it's not that. It's just I don't have any baby pictures." Because he's fucking adopted, and his adopted family didn't like really care about him enough to like take any baby pictures of him. So like he's feeling really depressed because he doesn't like have any like cute like that experience of like sharing baby pictures with Lon Zhan, and Lon Zhan is like, this cannot do. So he like secretly gets his Wei Ying's sister and brother into a group chat, and they plan this surprise where they all go to the mall to a photo studio and take like really cute, cheesy, like dorky family photos and like different matching outfits and like different settings, like a Christmas one and like a school one and like all the different holidays and stuff. And Wei Ying is like fucking crying and laughing through the entire thing, and it's so fucking cute. And then at the end, at the epilogue, it's Wei Ying taking a bunch of like embarrassing baby pictures of Ayuan so that he can embarrass his future like significant other when they come to visit. So it just all goes full circle, and it's like, oh my god, it touched my heart so much. Like, it was
so cute.
I'm like, just thinking about it just makes me like, what the fuck, Wei Ying? Why did no one love you when you were little?
That's so cute. Oh that is really cute.
It's so wholesome. It was so wholesome.
My
I was
god.
like, my feelings.
My heart. Wow. No, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Such a good read. It was like, I needed this serotonin in my life. Like, it was so
yo,
good.
if it's wholesome and sad, I'm down for that too.
God. Like it's just like your perfect mix of
yes.
emotion.
I love self-pity, like angst that has happiness with it, okay?
Yeah, like it needs to have I was telling like I was talking to someone earlier, and I was like, I can live through as much angst as I need, but I need to know that there's a fucking happy ending. Like I need to know that all the suffering was like worth it at the end. And you're like, nah, you don't even fucking care about
I don't fucking care. I'm here for the journey. I don't care about I know the ending is gonna happen, but I want the journey. I want paragraphs upon paragraphs of a person who believes that nobody loves them and that the best way for everyone to be happy is for them to die. Yes.
Unresolved forever. There's no happy ending.
I'm okay with that.
No, I'm okay suffering if I know that there's like a resolution. I find it really, really difficult when there's like open-ended endings, or like, ones that like don't have any kind of like finality to them. Like
sometimes I actually hate it when there's a happy ending because I'm like, ugh, so unrealistic. It could
unrealistic. I was gonna say, you're like, this isn't real life.
No.
It's okay. It's fantasy. I live in fantasy world. I'm okay with this.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Well,
my off topic.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, on Spotify, on our website, blhqpodcast.com. And we also have our Patreon, in which people can support us on there. And it's time to read some Patreon comments.
Patreon comments, my favorite.
Yeah, it's because we have so many because we haven't recorded. Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't recorded 2 weeks. So, let's see. So, oh my god, I've just scrolled back so much.
Oh, hello, Domino. Domino, like, comes up halfway to my lap, like she wants to jump up, but she's too heavy sometimes.
Ha!
Jump up herself. So I have to, like, pick her up because you're
He.
lazy tub.
All right. So, oh my God, I'm going back all the way to Thanksgiving because that's how long ago.
That's really the last time we streamed. Yeah.
So Angela Evans says, found you guys from a danmei podcast Google search. I have no IRL friends to gush about, have an official blessing with, and was hungry for more conversations about it. I'm so glad I found you guys. Thank you for your hard work. This is why we're here.
You found us. Oh my God.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yes, perfect. I want to be like the danmei podcast. I know that all of our episodes are extremely like deep dives about specific like chapters and stuff, but hopefully in the future we'll put out more episodes that's going to be about the broaderness of like danmei and like BL and everything.
I'm so excited that people are just like randomly discovering us through Google. Like,
yes, thank God.
Obviously, people are Google searching for danmei content because there's not enough out there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we could fill the void.
Hello, here we are.
Yes, we're here to fill the void.
So we've been posting fanfiction recommendations almost every week. I think we haven't done it this week yet, but Izzy replied back to one of our fanfiction recommendation posts saying slow burn and angst, my two faves. Yes. Oh
God, the slow burn. It's not like worth it at the end. It's so good. Yeah.
Kate Payne says on episode 26's bottom show, great fanfic recs. I just finished special treatment required and oh my God, so good. Lizards and snakes do have two penises because they read a lot of dragon smut.
Dragon smut, and I was like, why do all the dragon AU fics give Long Wanji two penises? Like, I need to understand why. Is this like a reason? And
first
now we know
one goes in and then the second one goes in. Boom.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, why? But snakes have two penises. Okay, good to know.
Love it. She says, I love listening to the bottom show. You guys always talk about the good shit on here. Yeah, we do get quite smutty.
Not safe for work.
Yes.
Not stream friendly.
Let's see. On episode 25 bottom show, Izzy says, not me sitting at my desk at work doing spreadsheets, listening to an explanation on soaking. That was the episode we talked about soaking.
God, not the soaking. I forgot that we talked about soaking. Fuck.
Whoops.
What the fuck, Stella? Like, I could have lived my entire life like not knowing that concept existed, and here we are.
Now you know. Woo! Good for education, bad for health.
Like I feel like my life is less enriched by this
knowledge. Let's see. They also complimented on episode 24. Izzy says, I'm so obsessed with the Blackwater arc. I'm absolutely feral if we get it animated. I know. I can't wait for it to get animated.
God, can you imagine the animation? It's gonna be so fucked up. Oh my God.
I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready.
Fucked up. It's so I know there's like comedic moments that happen during the Blackwater arc, but all I can think about is the fucked up.
Blackwater arc, so sad. I think about it now and I'm like crying, especially after our cosplay with it.
Oh my God.
So sad. Fuck.
Everything is fine.
And episode 24, Angela says, I interpreted Shiwudu's actions as provoking Blackwater to kill him to spare Xinqin Xuan since he knew his brother couldn't do it. But either way, this was so hard to read. BRB crying. I agree. I completely agree.
Good interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
And we will never really know what's canonical because, dead. But yeah, it could be either he was trying to save his brother by sacrificing himself and going like intentionally provoking what's his name, Huishuan, or he could have been that because everyone keeps describing his personality as like greedy and selfish and self-centered. So the world will never know. I mean, both interpretations are correct.
Yep. Oh man. All right. Well, so thank you so much for the comments, you guys. I really appreciate it. We're also going to be recording a second episode today too, right?
Right after this.
Okay, cool. We have more comments after that. I want to save some for later.
Do you want to just do the bottom of the show twice afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Cool. And do we have a quote for today?
We should, but I didn't underline anything.
The clothing one. Cloth and
God,
limbs.
That was so funny. When I read that, I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Where is it? Okay, I can't find it. If you find it, let me know.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna just Google search clothing. Or no, it was quilt. Quilts.
Brothers like limbs, women like clothes.
Okay. Yep. Did we underline?
I will underline it. Here we go. Chapter 148, beginning.
I see it. Okay, do you want to do the sign off first?
Didn't I say all of the things? I said follow us on Twitter and Patreon. I already said all that stuff.
Okay, cool. Never mind. And like Pei Ming's motto used to be, brothers like limbs, women like clothes. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Listen.
Okay, so cool. That's the end of. Let me stop the recording there. So that's the end of episode 29. Now we're gonna move on to episode 30 because we need to like have more stuff. Backlog. Heck, you guys. Backlog.
I don't have a recap written. Should I write one really fast?
Yes.
Okay.
We're doing it live.
Okay. This takes me like a few minutes to think about. Give me a second. Now I feel like pressure. Let me remember what happened. You want to vamp while I read this mentally?
So I'm gonna tell you guys about other fan fictions I've been reading recently.
I'm going to take my headphones out so that I don't feel like I read.
All right, chat. You guys ready? We're gonna talk about some fan fiction, some sexy fan fiction. I think. Let me see which one. Let me see which one is good. God, I've been reading so many sad ones from Sentient Ren. She's like literally my favorite writer right now because everything she writes is so sad. Let's see. Okay. So there's this one, and this is from someone else named Platinum Tongue, and it's called Peach Wine from the Sun God, and it is literally 21 episodes of smut from Husky and his white cat Shizen. Holy shit. Let me post it into chat. Copy link address. Oh my god. This is so smutty. So the first it's linear, like every single thing happens like one after another. And she put chapter like descriptions and stuff but like the whole woo, like first episode, Chuaning ends up drinking aphrodisiac, and so Moran has to go do something about it. They're already, this is like post canon. This is like after the story, the book is over, and they are married and they're living together in their cottage, and it's really cute, and they do be having sex all the time. But now it's like, oh, let's jump into like the weird, crazy things they end up doing. And eventually the story, so like some cute things happen, such as like Taisha and June trying to like do something nice and giving gifts to Chuaning. He also like accidentally turns Chuaning into a cat with like a thing he thought was an aphrodisiac, but it's actually like a cat transforming pill. So that was really cute. Taisha and June kidnapping Chuaning to take him to like a hot spring vacation, which was really, really cute. Because at first you're like, oh man, Taisha and June just being like non-consensual again. But in actuality, he like brought him over to this beautiful hot spring town and like spent all night like bringing him there when he was sleeping so that he wouldn't wake him. So then when Taisha and June got there and was all like, haha, look what we did, I like brought you to this hot spring. He's like, I'm so tired now because I literally stayed up all night so I could do this. It was so cute. And then other cute things. Oh, there's one episode where like Chuaning finds a baby and like takes care of the baby, and it's like, I kind of want a baby, but not right now. And like Moran's like, we should raise a child someday. That would be nice. It was really cute. Like it was fluffy. There was no smut. So like every two chapters of this is fluff, and then it's smut. Or so. You're right about Husky and White Cat Shizen being immediately spicy. Yes, it is immediately spicy. It's so like all the other books by MXTX like author, her stuff doesn't have any, like it doesn't start off with smut. It ends with smut. But everything by Meat Bun, the author meat bun, it's smut right off the bat. Like there's so much smut, you guys. The whole premise of Urha is smut. So yeah, whole entire premise. Woo. Gotta have fluffy or smut. Okay, so then one of the interesting things that happens is that eventually this author of the smutty thing I was talking about brings in characters from MXTX. So brings in Xie Lian and Hua Cheng, then brings in like Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian, and then I don't know if they eventually... Yeah, they don't... Okay, so those are the only two books that they bring in. They don't go into Scum Villain at all. Because I think Scum Villain doesn't match the vibe.
I think I'm good with the recap.
Yay!
So I can hear you. Okay.
Hello. We were talking about smut.
Okay.
As
what kind of smut?
what I do. There's one I was reading called Peach Wine from the Sun God, and it's like 21 chapters of straight smut. Well, no, every other chapter is fluffy.
Okay.
Yeah, every other chat is fluff, but it's all about like post-canon Chuaning, Moran like living in a cottage together and all the sex they have.
Cute.
Okay, so before we jump into the next episode, do we want to stop this stream and then start a new stream so it's two separate stream episodes?
Can you just rewrite the stream title as 29?
When it uploads to our channel, it'll be an extra long video, and I don't know if I can divide that in two.
You're right. Yeah, do you want to just cut the stream here and then re-stream?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I hope no one leaves. If you leave, I will cry.
We will all cry. Please just refresh the page after the stream ends so that you can see us live once again.
Okay, and then we can start episode 30. Okay, BRB in like 30 seconds.